Did you know that guilt, condemnation, shame, and fear are not Christian emotions? Yet so many Christians still today think that it is a good thing for them to feel bad about themselves. Some people even believe that guilt is the primary Christian motivation in their lives. And therefore, they don't even feel that you are a good Christian unless you feel bad about yourself. Many Christians feel that if they don't feel guilty, ashamed, or even fearful in their relationship with God, they will never be motivated to holiness, good works, and a changed life. So anytime that you remove guilt and shame and fear from the equation of serving God, many people feel that they are left with any a motivation to actually serve God. And yet, this same guilt, this condemnation and fear that people have in their relationship with God paralyzes them and disarms their lives all the time. Guilt is something that is so destructive in the life of any person, and especially as a believer. Guilt is the emotion, or guilt towards God is the emotion of feeling ashamed and fearful because you believe that you have somehow offended a holy and righteous God. And destructive guilt is when we have the perceived notion that somehow we have done something that has caused us to stand condemned and as a failure and, as it were, excluded from God in His kingdom. Yet the majority of Christians around the world believe that it is normal, that it is the usual thing for a Christian to go and experience this feeling of guilt and falling short and not being able to live up to the standard and therefore feeling ashamed. It is true that without Jesus, we all stand condemned before God. But let's have a look at what Paul says in Romans chapter 5, verses 6 through to verse 9 about the subject. He says, "For when we were yet without strength, in due time Christ died for the ungodly." Isn't that a powerful statement? Jesus didn't come to die for the godly or for the moral, but He came to die for the ungodly. And then it says, "For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But God commends His love towards us." That means God demonstrated His love towards you and towards me and to all of the human race by sending Jesus. And He says that while we were yet sinners, while we were yet, not while we were trying to figure things out, not while we tried to be better people, but while we wanted nothing to do with God, Jesus came and He died for us. And then Paul says, much more then. That's already a huge chunk of what Jesus did. And then he says, much more then, being now justified by His blood, we shall be saved from wrath through Him. You see, it is true that without Jesus we stand condemned. But this is the good news today, not only for you and for me, but for the whole world. And that is that we are not without Jesus. That means you are not without Jesus. I am not without Jesus. And therefore, I can do exactly what Paul says. We are therefore now free to live a free life, free from guilt, free from condemnation, because while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us.